cracking FA Cup final we have just around the corner as both Manchester City and Crystal Palace look forward to a day at Wembley. Now behind me you should see 100, in fact in excess of 100 simulations of that said FA Cup final. What happened at the end of it? Well, I'll tell you next. That's right folks, back once again with another video. Today we're going to showcase you the results of my FA Cup simulation video, courtesy of Football Manager, that's right. We have simulated the result, or the match, over 100 times between Manchester City and Crystal Palace. Who came out top? What's the most likely scoreline? And of course, who's the goal scorer is going to be? Well, I'll showcase you all my findings in just 1 second. If you know where you've been, hit the old subscribe button. You want to subscribe for Blackburn Rovers, World Cup, World Football, everything, FA Cup. We've got it all here under one rooski, that's right. So, I've done it 100 times. In fact, in excess of 100 times, and those results are going to be displayed shortly, of course. I have a couple of little disclaimers to go through, but we'll get to that in a second. A big shout out to the members, and a big shout out to the Patreons. That's right, you know who you are. So, let's get into it, and of course, not fanning around. So, of course, I've got some graphics coming at you at the screen. Let's talk about the disclaimers here, first and foremost. We all know, if you don't know, well, you should know, we did have to use Football Manager 2024 for these simulations, because Football 2025 didn't get released. It got put in the back burner, and it's a big old controversy, but we don't really want to go there because we want to kind of keep this on the straight and narrow. Also, I did update FM 2024 to the most possible or most current situation, which means the squads are correct, and some injuries, key injuries are also correct. For example, I did do the simulations with Haaland, not necessarily 100% fit, coming back from injury, and Rodri is also there. So those are some key factors going into this, which also kind of helped a little bit to make this a little bit more interesting, because if I think a 100% fit Haaland would make this a little bit boring. But anyway, I digress. So, of course, we already scrolled through the 100 fixtures at the start of the show. Let's showcase you the results in a bit of a dragged out situation. So here we go, 100 simulations. In fact, let's take a look at them then, shall we? Now, of the scorelines, some of the big scorelines or the interesting scorelines I saw out there included this one. That was the biggest victory for Manchester City. It was a 4-0 win for them. I think it happened a couple of times, so it might be already showing you an indication of what we're going to showcase you with these 100 simulations. Meanwhile, Crystal Palace's biggest win was, in fact, a 3-0 win, so not too shabby, not too far off of Man City's biggest scoreline. And in fact, we had even Bobby Dazzler, a better result than that, a bit of a spectacular. It was a 7-goal thriller. Man City coming out top 4-3. So those were some of the cherry-picked results out there, as of course we try to see what the most common scoreline is. But let's get into the details then, shall we? And highlight the goal scorers for Manchester City. Again, over 100 times we've simulated these games. I took care, I scribbled down all the scorers, how many times they put it in the back of the net. So let's take a look at them. We're going to start from the lowest scorer all the way to the most. Again, this is just Manchester City, so here we go. Into bottom spot we have Doku. Just the 2 goals for him over the course of the simulations, so not too great on his regard. Nathan Ake chipped in with 3 as well. Gvardiol, 2 from the back there, of course. Only 22 years of age. I cannot believe it. Meanwhile, Haaland, there he is. Got 5 goals. I think if it was a fully fit, 100% going, he probably would have had 50 in these simulations. But he only got 5, so the goals came from elsewhere. Meanwhile, Diaz chipped in with 9. We have Stones in there with 3. Not necessarily in the right order. Should have sorted that out, but make it a little bit more interesting. Meanwhile, Rodri chipped in with 11. Wow, wow, wee, wow. 11 goals for Rodri in the midfield there. Also, Foden chipped in with 30. It's a major step up then. But is he the highest goal scorer for Manchester City? Well, we'll see. Kicking off forward, Nunez, just the 7 for him. Gudungadun. I don't know, the spelling is a bad one, as on me. 25 goals for him. There was 5 own goals in total over the course of the simulations. Grealish got 18 goals. De Bruyne with 34. And Silva with 20. Now, in total, Man City scored 174 goals over the course of the 100-plus simulations. Is that out going to score Crystal Palace? Well, we'll see. In this one then, shall we? Now, these are the top goal scorers for Crystal Palace over the course of the simulations. It does not necessarily indicate that they came out on top with the most wins, etc., etc., because there could have been a couple of 6-0 or 4-0 wins there for Man City, and maybe a lot of 1-0 wins. So just bear with me, So Chilwell chipped in with 1 goal for Crystal Palace. Nunez also got the 1 goal. Lacroix with 3. Esse with 8 goals there for him. Mark Gui Lerma chipped in with 2 then. Adam Wharton, the legend, ex-Rover, of course, 6 goals for him. Ward with 1. Ete with 16 goals. We have Richards in there with 7. Saar with 5. And Nketiah there with 34. Not too shabby himself. Decore with 6. And that completes the pack. So in total, they scored just the 93. So if you want to do the maths there, 0.9 goals a game average compared to Man City's 1.7, I think. So maybe you're getting a little bit of an indication of what went on in the simulations. Well, let's take a look at the top 10 goal scorers combined if you've already lost track of what went on. Well, these are the top 10 goal scorers starting in reverse order. Esse with 8 for Crystal Palace. Diaz is in there with 9. Rodri got 11. Ete got himself 16, so not too shabby in there. Meanwhile, Grealish up there with 18. Silva's there with 20. Gundogan there, but the spelling error is 25 for him. Foden up there with 30. Then it's Nketiah there with 34. And Bruyne up there in 34. So they're actually level pegging there. Mate there, of course, who is probably the main threat for Crystal Palace in the real world. And again, I had no control of the starting 11s. I had no control of fitnesses or red cards or what went on for the simulations. But this is just kind of like a global point of view here of what could happen, or maybe even what is likely to happen in this game coming at you over at Wembley. So those are the top goal scorers. Very, very blue dominant there. Just 3 reds in regards to Crystal Palace. So we're getting down to the nitty gritty now here. This is where it all comes out and all disclosed for you. Over 100 simulations. Well, let's take a look at the numbers then, shall we? We did actually do this 109 times. So this is in total. I'm going to break it down for you. There might be a little bit of good news in here because instantly you're going to think, oh, what a fucking disgrace that is. But every cloud has a silver lining for the most part in these simulations. I think I did 4. I've done 4, but I'm probably going to do 7 with the playoffs whenever we get round to those. There seems to be always a cloud. There's maybe one in the next batch of 4 sims with the Euro games that's pretty one-sided. But this one, let's take a look at it. Man City did actually win 79 of the 109. This is now full game here, 90 minutes plus the extra time, plus the penalties. So all the games, all the scenarios, we did it 109 times, and Man City did win 79 of them. So the common result will be a Manchester City victory. And of course, Crystal Palace lost 30. Sorry, they won 30 of those. So let's break it down a little bit further on how those games were won. Within 90 minutes now, and of course, there's a big pool there, big scope there for Man City. They actually 87 of the 109 games that were played ended in within 90 minutes. 64 of those were won by Man City. Just 23 were won by Crystal Palace. So again, very heavily in favour of Manchester City in this one. Meanwhile, kicking on forward, let's go to extra time then, shall we? How many games went into extra time? Well, we're talking 16 games went into extra time. Now, that is just extra time alone, not penalties, just extra time. So, 16 of those, 12 of those were won by Manchester City. Just 4 were won by Crystal Palace. So still not very good for Crystal Palace if you're a Crystal Palace fan heading into Wembley thinking this is pretty much doom and gloom. What about penalties then? If it goes beyond penalties, if it goes beyond extra time, is there any hope? Well, we actually had 6 scenarios that went beyond the 90 and even beyond those extra times. And of course, six of those. 3 for Man City and 3 for Crystal Palace. Wow. That's your silver lining right there. Ultimately, though, we had 22 of the 109 went beyond 90 minutes. 15 went in favour of Man City. 7 went for Crystal Palace. So, I guess the best I can say you can hope for, Crystal Palace fans, is get it to extra time, and who knows. But this is just a simulation. It's not what I actually think. I've got my own prediction video coming out, and of course, I'm a big fan of Adam Wharton. I think he's a phenomenal player, and he might be a difference maker between them. And also, I'm just recording this fresh off the back of that humiliating result for Man City's drawing with Southampton. Goodness gracious me. So confidence might not be high. But anyway, this is, of course, what it boils down to here. 174 goals scored by Man City, just 93 for Crystal Palace, with the goal per match ratio of 1.7 compared to Crystal Palace 0.9. So that, my friends, is what happened in the course of those 109 simulations. It does look like a favourable win for Manchester City, but again, it's just the supercomputer's take. Well, maybe we'll track back, or maybe you guys should track back to see just how far off the mark this prediction by Football Manager was. Will it be a convincing win for Man City, or will Crystal Palace upset the world and get themselves their hands on some glory. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below as we look forward to the FA Cup final just around the corner. But until then, subscribe, smash the like. We're done.